By the end of the meeting, every person in the room had heard everything the manager said. Almost none of them had heard the one sentence that actually mattered. A delivery manager walked into Monday's release meeting, already knowing what needed to happen. Engineering was going to stop building new features for the week and fix defects instead. She didn't open with that. She thanked the team for the work they'd already done. She walked through the previous sprint, acknowledged the pressure everyone already felt around the release, and explained the stakeholder feedback and the defects testing had turned up. She wanted people to have context before she asked them to change direction, and she didn't want the release to sound worse than it already was. That's not carelessness. A room that sat through dozens of status updates does exactly what those updates trained it to do: check messages, scan the agenda, wait for the part that's theirs. By the time she actually reached the decision, several people were already answering emails. Others were just waiting for the discussion to reach whatever involved them. Then she said it. We need to prioritize the release defects this week. And the meeting kept working. Team leads asked about severity, about ownership, about deadlines, and she answered every question. Everyone left with more information than they'd walked in with. It looked in the room like it had landed. What none of those questions ever tested was whether people understood something had actually changed instead of just been adjusted. Over the next few days, the gap held and nobody noticed it. Some engineers kept building features. One team lead understood the defects now carried higher priority, but not that feature work had stopped entirely. Another assumed the instruction only applied to the engineers already assigned to the release. The manager believed she'd issued a clear decision. The team had heard another adjustment to a list of priorities they'd already been juggling. When the manager saw feature work still moving, she did the only thing that made sense from where she was standing. She sent more context, a follow up message explaining the release risk, summarizing the defects, repeating the need for flexibility. The decision wasn't there, it was buried in there exactly the same way it had been the first time. The problem wasn't that the team lacked information. Twice now they'd gotten plenty of it. She lost the room before she ever reached the information that mattered, because people classify communication from its opening. A familiar opener about progress, about pressure, about stakeholder concerns sounds like another update with nothing meaningful behind it. And once a room makes that judgment, it stops listening for a decision. It waits for its name, its task, or the end. Key change needed for this week: stop feature development today and work on the release defects. Said first, that sentence changes what everything after it is for. The room already knows something has changed before the explanation even starts. Context still matters. People need to know why a decision exists, what it touches, what happens next. Niceness has a place. Thank people when the work deserves it. The mistake wasn't giving context, it was giving it first. But start with the point you're trying to make, then earn the context that follows. Before your next meeting, your next announcement, your next written update, finish this sentence. The one thing I need you to know is, if you can't complete it with one clear decision, request, or conclusion, you haven't decided what the communication is for. If you complete it and then add three competing priorities, you lied about there being one thing. The last message you sent your team, how far into it did they have to read before they knew something had actually changed?